all hot paper craft. This is the finished model of the SUV. How to do the SUV? We start by putting the cursor in the middle, and then we add a cube, and we move this cube. We switch to the side view. Then we need to move this cube to this position here. Adjust these two. So I move a little bit up and move a little bit over here. Okay, so now this is aligned here. I put the cursor in this position, and then I can scale here up, and the length is actually correct. Yeah, I don't need to adjust the length here. The length is actually good. And then I look at the top view. But if I would have to, yeah, okay, so I would need to make sure that, I can adjust the length like this, and I can go to this position around here. So now I go to the top view. This corner is almost aligned correctly, but I still need to go a little bit up, position the cursor here in the corner, and scale the width to the right width. Okay, so this is the basic parts. So now I can switch to edit mode. And in edit mode, I can select vertices, edges, or surfaces. Okay, you're not going to need the vertices. This is really advanced stuff. You will only mess up your model, so better not use them. Select the surface, okay, and then you can use the extrude tool to pull it out. And when you pull it out, you need to make sure to click on the plus here. Yeah, so it goes straight. Don't click on the S because it will come out in another angle, okay? And also remember that every time you pull on it, you will create a new extrusion, which you don't want to have too many of them. So if you don't get the position right, you just switch to the move tool, and then you can use the move tool to adjust the position. Also, if you use the extrude tool, try not to extrude something back, like something like this, because this also causes a lot of problems. Okay, so now that with that said, go to the side view, and here for the SUV, you have two parts. First you pull over all the way to here, okay? And then if you look at the top view, you need to scale it. Yeah, but if you scale it, it's still like this. That's because it's switched to the cursor here. Even if the cursor were somewhere near the middle, it will still not scale the same on both sides. So to be sure, it's better to switch the alignment to the center here. So now this is exactly in the center of the surface. So now I can go here and I can scale this a little bit inward to here. Yeah. Go to the side view. Then I will use my edge. I will select the edge, and I can move the edge a little bit down to somewhere around here. So this is the first part. Now comes the second part. Once again, I select the surface. I extrude out, and I extrude to the very front. Okay, switch to the top view and adjust the two sides to somewhere around here. Again, you can turn on the X-ray view if that helps. Yeah, and then adjust the upper and lower edge. Select the upper edge, and this is going a little bit down, right? It should be a little bit more down than ideally. It should align with the, it can also go more down than this, but it should not be more, it should be, straight with the rest of the hood, or go a little bit down. Okay, so like this. And then, of course, the lower side of the front, I will also move it a little bit up. Okay, so now I have the front finished. Then I will turn to the back, and to better see the back, I can turn off the image on the back, and I select this surface, and now it's really important to pull this out straight. Okay, pull this out straight, pull it all the way to the end, and yes, this corner is not correct, you can ignore that. Okay, so to here. Then for the SUV, you don't need to scale it inwards like this. Okay, actually I recommend you just don't. Okay, just leave it like this. Then, because it's actually a box in the back, and it also makes the cabin easier. Then you have the one, you can select this edge here below, and you move this edge you move this edge up somewhat. Okay? So now you have the main body. And now you can continue with the cabin. And it's good idea to delete this edge. But you don't delete it. Okay, so if you right click, use the right mouse button or 2-finger click, you have here delete edges and dissolve. So what delete edges does is does this. Okay, that's what you don't want. If this happens, actually you can select the edges and you can click option, select to adjust the pattern, and then here you have new edge face and vertices. Okay, so then you have it again. Okay, but the better would be in this case to just dissolve the edges. That means the surface remains, but only the edge is gone. And then to create the cabin, you have two options. One is you extrude out. You extrude out, and then you adjust the width. Of course, according to the view, right? Here, adjust the width, and move this one to the, well, that's the wrong one. So move this edge to here, and move this edge to here, and then you have the cabin. Or another one would be to use and learn a new tool, use the inset faces tool. So again, you switch to the top view and to X-ray, and then you can, by pulling on this ring, you can make an inner surface here. Okay, so then this will go here. Make sure this aligns with the width of the cabin. And then you take this to move it back. Yeah, move it back to here. And you take this to move it forward to here. And then you have it like this. Then you need to select this surface in the middle, which can be tricky in X-ray mode. So then get out of X-ray mode. And then you drag this up to the height of the cabin. And then the main body of the SUV is actually done. Okay? Save. Never forget to save. Then the next step would be to create the wheels. Okay, so for the wheels, you can close the body, you can hide the body here, and you have two cylinders. One cylinder is the outer, one cylinder is the actual wheel, and one cylinder is the hole in the body that contains the wheel. Okay, for that one, we will actually do one. We'll do the wheel first. Okay, so we go to add object mode, and we add a cylinder. And when you add the cylinder, you go here on the cylinder and then you click. And then you do nothing. The first thing you should do after you clicked on this, you don't move, you don't touch it, you don't do anything. You go down here to add cylinder. This is the adjust last operation. And here you can see that this has many corners, right? So this is not very round. So in order to make it more round, you should set the number of vertices here to higher than 80 or 90, okay? So that makes it more round. Now you can take this, you rotate it along the x-axis, okay? You rotate around the x-axis here, and then you switch to the side view. You move it over so that it will align, the top will align with the top of the wheel in the side view. Then you put the cursor here, switch to cursor alignment in the top, and then you can scale it to the size of the wheel that you need. Okay, about maybe a little bit smaller. Okay, so this is the wheel. And of course, don't forget to adjust the width. So you need to have the front view. Make sure that this is aligned here. Put the cursor in the edge. Scale the wheel to the right width. Okay, so that's the wheel. And now for this place to cut out from the wheel. So we select the wheel, and by right mouse clicking or 2-finger clicking, we can get this, and then we can say duplicate objects. And then if we move it, then there's a second object, but we don't want to move it. We want to keep it in the same position. So that's why when we duplicate, we just click. We don't move. We don't do anything. We just click. So now it will be in the same position. Okay? So now we can move this. We still have the position here. So we can scale this a little bit wider. yeah? And we need to scale it a little bit bigger. So in order to scale it a little bit bigger, maybe it's a good idea to switch to the centered adjustment alignment. So, yeah. And of course we need to scale along the white line, yeah, and make it this wide. Move it a little bit up, yeah, okay. Then we can switch to wireframe mode to quickly look how does the wheel fit into the hole. Fits well. So now go back to this mode, and now we need to duplicate this one. Duplicate in the same position. Move the duplicate over to here in the right position for the fender here. Okay? So then we take the two of them, duplicate them again, and move them over to the opposite side. And now we need to make sure that if we turn on back on the body, so the body is aligned with the front view. It seems to be aligned pretty good. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger, obviously, but it will do. Yeah. And then we can make sure that the positions of them are correct, right? Okay. Then we save. And then, this is important. Actually, not so much for this car, but in general, it's a good idea before you work with Bool Tool that you save under a new name, so that you, just in case that something goes wrong, you still have the earlier version of the body to go back to. So that's why now I will save this, save as SUV2. Okay, save. And okay, so now I will once again, I will make sure that the positioning of the wheels is correct. So it looks pretty good. They are all pretty the same. By the way, this one, what we see here is the wheel which is still inside, right? Wheel is still inside. Okay, so, but we can ignore the wheel for now. So now we can start to use the Bool Tool. And for the Bool Tool, we select two objects, and then we can make a Boolean operation. And we should select, so we select first the object which will be deleted, which will be cut out in this case, and second the object from which it will be cut out. If I select the body first and then the wheel, and do the Boolean, then you see the wheel will be cut out instead of the body. Okay, so select this part first, the cylinder first, select the body, object, Boolean, and difference. And there you can see that our wheel is now in the fender. Do the same thing for here, Boolean, difference. Same thing for here, Boolean, difference. And here, object, Boolean, difference. Okay, so now we have this, and then we can duplicate the wheels and put them into position. So this wheel is already in a position. Duplicate object, move it to the other side. Make sure it's aligned. Maybe make sure it's aligned in the right position. Maybe go to wireframe. I think it's good enough. Okay. So then go back to regular view. Go to bottom view. Take these wheels. Actually, they seem a bit small. I'm gonna make them a little bit wider. Make them a little bit wider. Okay. So then duplicate them and move them down to here. And yeah, so now you have, actually there's an additional wheel in here somewhere. So I will delete that. Okay, so now I have the wheels in the right positions. Okay, so I'm almost finished. What I still need is, or are, the rear view mirrors. Okay, and for that I will hide my body once again. And now I will bring in another cube. Okay, and move this cube. Align the bottom right corner with the bottom right corner of the rear view mirror here in the view. And then put the cursor here. Scale switch to cursor alignment, of course. Scale this a little bit down and make it a little bit shorter, so it will adjust the width here. Okay, then go to the side view and also scale up here to make it the right width here. Okay, So then I click here. Then I just go to edit mode. And I select this surface. Go to top view and move this surface back to create the right angle for the rear view mirror. Go back to object mode. Bring back the body. Okay, make sure the position is good. Position is good. Go to top view. Duplicate the rear view mirror. And again, don't move. Duplicate and click without moving. Okay, switch this back to bounding box center. And now you can mirror this. Click on it, mirror along y-axis. So now it is mirrored. Now I just need to move this over to the opposite side. And now I should make sure that the size is here the same. Yeah, look at the front view. This one seems to be a little bit bigger. So I move it a little bit inward. Okay, so now I have them like this. I can turn off my views now. And now the final thing I need to do is to make the body and the rear view mirrors one. So I can select the two and the main body, and then use Boolean, and this time I use union to make them all one. Okay, and there's a duplicate still left here under here, so I will get rid of that duplicate. And that's the SUV. And now the next step would be defining the parts, painting, and making it flat. But that's another video. Thank you.